Thank you.
Welcome everyone. My name is Marton Csernai. I am the product owner and lead researcher at Killer Protocol. So after a short interview, I would like to discuss the main problems on the way to fully functional decentralized organizations. And we would like to propose solutions by introducing our novel virtual structure concept and by addressing the regulatory requirements around them. Finally, I would like to put this new concept in context for the Polkadot network. So if you look at the blockchain world, you can easily see its evolution from a technological point of view. But it is also very interesting to see it from a regulatory point of view. And if we look at what happened in the past until now, we can see how these two fields interact with each other. So we can project a little bit into the future as well. Basically what we have seen so far is that regulation evolved with technology by catching up with technology. And at the first step, technology gave us Bitcoin, which is a secure infrastructure for value transfer. And from a regulatory point of view, governments neglected this in the beginning, but slowly they acknowledged it as a utility, and now you can pay your taxes when you make profit on trading Bitcoin. In the second step, Ethereum gave us a universal blockchain computer, and anybody can start or could start their ICOs on this platform. And then after some time, the regulators caught up to this, and now different countries offer different regulations or have different regulations regarding ICOs. Currently, we see the proliferation of security token offerings or security STOs. This is basically where you can manage the ownership of a company on chain. So the asset is the ownership of a company. If you look at this from a regulation point of view, for example, in Germany, all securities must be on paper. They have to be paper-based. And the first step in this field would be to solve how to digitize or tokenize this paper requirement. So after we solve this, what would be needed for the next step? So companies on chain are possible from a technological point of view already now, but not from the regulation point of view. So we imagine or we propose that we would need sandboxed virtual structure, and for this the first step would be to enable entities to start a company without a paper-based notarization process. But it's not enough. It would be simply an online platform to start a GmbH in Germany or a company. But since these virtual structures would help people to decide in a structured way, it's not only that the founding of the company, but also the working process and the decision making should be enabled online on the blockchain. And so if this would happen on a public blockchain, it would enable and provide a transparent audit trail for all governments and auditors. So, and in the later step, this would enable DAOs or decentralized autonomous organizations, where the mechanics of a general company should be verifiable. So the government should be able to verify if the code or the mechanism of a DAO is legal or not. And this could also lead to self-owned assets. For example, a self-owned car, which could be 100% taxable by a government. And this would be an interesting concept. And so one of the most interesting events in this crypto evolution was the DAO, which basically attempted to jump through these necessary building blocks with a nice shortcut. but it kind of spectacularly failed in a couple of months. So it was planned to be a virtualized venture capital company run on the blockchain, and the potential profit would have been distributed amongst the shareholders. So it was founded in May 2016. It was built on the mainnet Ethereum as a smart contract. It never invested in any company, and it was closed down in July 2016 due to an error in the smart contract that was exploited by some hackers. So basically it was too fast for investors and regulators, and shareholders, it was not really defined how shareholders could make an informed decision where to invest. So this led to the curation problem. And also investors and regulators did not understand the software, and shares became unregulated security tokens. And this led to the software and regulation problem. So at Kilt, we proposed that by solving these two problems, we could enable the next step in this blockchain evolution. So the curation problem is how we interpret it. If we look at the real world now, and if we look at the organization, how they, real world organizations, how they are structured, we have investors who put in capital into a company, and they choose curators, or they choose a board that manages this organization. And these curators curate or choose the experts who do the operational work in an organization. And these experts are incentivized through salary or monetary incentives. And they create results by doing actual work. And the curators, so this actual value is goes back as a profit or loss to the investors. So the investors trust the curators to manage the organization in a way that secures their investment, and the curators select the best experts to do the actual work. So if you look at the conventional TCRs, the token curated registries, we see that the curators merge these three roles, the investors, curators, and experts. And we propose that by separating the roles of investors and curators from the experts, this could lead to a new generational structure that could enable multiple business models. So in this case, the difference would be the following. In a conventional TCR, a user goes to the TCR to maybe check which are the best restaurants in Berlin. And the curators curate this list due to various incentives. And this might differ between the curators, and this could lead to multiple problems, strategy of the commons, and etc. So we propose that the curators should curate the experts who do actual work and check if a restaurant is worthy of their trust or recommendation or not. And the curators choose the best experts to protect this virtual structure, their brand. And the experts attest to a claim that the restaurant is claiming that it's a good restaurant. It's a good restaurant. And if the experts deem this restaurant worthy of their attestation, they create a credential for the restaurant that it's a good restaurant. And for this, the experts can get payment from the restaurant for this credential, and the curators and experts share this revenue. So the next topic is the software and regulation problem. So companies built on software are not transparent. Neither the investor nor the regulators can understand the mechanisms and details defined by the software. So small errors can lead to devastating effects, as we have seen in the Davos case. So regulators would need one trusted and tested middleware where these virtual structures can be configured and tested and checked. So we envision a virtual structure ecosystem which allows entities to easily create these new form of configurable virtual structures which meet regulatory and application-specific needs in certain jurisdictions. So these virtual structures would be built on top of a blockchain-based platform, which could provide regulatory environment. And so these virtual structures could be registered and taxed to provide legal security around the investment and the operation of this virtual organization. And the underlying middleware would need to be tested and approved by authorities only once. And the configuration of these virtual structures could be easily checked by investors and regulators. So what do we need, or what are the preconditions for these virtual structures? From a technological point of view, we would need to be able to manage somehow credentialed identities, which are checked by proven or trusted authorities, and we would need to handle these legitimations. We need to handle legitimations of these identities from authorities or trusted entities, and we also need a middleware for parameterizing and running these virtual structures. From the regulatory point of view, we would need a virtual person, kind of a virtual person, which would be in addition to a natural or a legal person, or we might see that it is only a small modification of the company law that is needed in certain jurisdictions. And we will also need an automated process for the registration, control and taxation of these virtual structures. So at Kilt, we have created a system, trust infrastructure system, which can manage revocable credentials, where the claimers can claim certain attributes about themselves, can request attestation from a trusted entity, and this attestation is so an attested claim would define a credential, and this credential is sent back to the claimer, and the hash of this credential is written to the blockchain. And this makes this credential revocable, so if the attester sees the claimer misbehave, to secure or maintain the trust that he has in the public, he will revoke the credential to keep its trust. And the verifiers can see when they are shown this credential by the claimer, they can see if this credential is still valid or not. Also, at Kilt, we have complex trust structures that we have built in the system. So you can have nested attestation or nested credentials, which we call legitimations. And you can also build up complex trust hierarchies, which are stored and managed on the blockchain. And you can enable certain type of credentials to be managed in the name of a root, let's say a university. So how would this look like if we put this in context for the virtual structures? So at first, an initiator would start a virtual structure by sending the parameters of this virtual structure and also his own identity credentials to the system. And hence the system would create a structure for him. And so in the next step, this structure could request legitimation from an authority, and the authority could check the credentials and the parameters of this structure and see if it checks out in a certain jurisdiction. And if it checks out, then it writes the attestation that the virtual structure is good and can function in his jurisdiction, and sends a tax ID and legitimation to this now approved structure, and also puts a mark on the blockchain about this event. And from then on, this is an approved structure in this jurisdiction and can function, create revenue, and enjoys the security and transparency backed by a public blockchain. So this virtual structure concept could enable multiple business models. It could be an investment firm where curators invest into a TCR to employ experts to find good investments. It could be a publisher or a job portal, or many other things. So if we look at this concept in terms of interoperability and in terms of the Polkadot network, we can imagine that when this virtual structure is attesting to some kind of entity in the system, let's say that's an investment decision, this is an investment fund running in a virtual structure. When this attestation is made on chain that this is a good investment, then this can already trigger through the Polkadot network an investment decision that a certain smart contract, maybe on the Ethereum mainnet, is worthy of investing in, and then it's so multiple entities would start or could start sending funds automatically to this smart contract. And there are multiple ways how this could be used in this ecosystem. So in conclusion, virtual structures could create new business opportunities for investors. They can be taxed, and thus they are a really great opportunity for governments. And we think that businesses will move to those jurisdictions which present a regulatory framework for a virtual person that can enable this structure, and a simple process for registering these structures. And from an evolution point of view, we see that the tokenization of assets is a necessary intermediate step for this thing to happen. The trust infrastructure is already available. This virtual structure technology will be available in a couple of years. And we see the importance of the regulatory aspect of this, and our team is very active in raising awareness about these legal issues and how we could solve them. So we are very excited about enabling the next step in the evolution of DAOs and self-owned assets at Guild. So I would like to also thank my colleagues, Ingo, CEO at Guild, and also Gustav, our senior legal counsel, for working on this concept. Many of the concepts came out of the legal work that they are doing around TCRs. And we are also looking for people who would like to join our team working on these concepts. So if you guys are interested, just find us here or on any of our channels, and we are happy to talk about these. So thank you very much.